Now, moving straight on to the drama over former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his WhatsApp chats and diary entries. Well, this continues. So while on the one hand, the former Tory leader's spokesperson insists that chats related to the Partygate scandal are with the cabinet, questions are being raised as to why officials in the UK government are denying having these chats in their possession. So Johnson has been urging the Cabinet Office to hand the material to the Inquiry Commission. The Rishi Sunak-led government has so far refused to hand over the material. Now, recently it claimed that it does not even have the material with them. A Johnson spokesperson has added that the former Prime Minister will hand over the material directly to the inquiry panel if it's inquired to do so, or if the panel asks them to. Well, both the COVID inquiry panel and the Cabinet Office are considering legal action to protect their own interest. The inquiry panel warns that if the UK government does not hand over the material, it will seek legal assistance. Or, on the other hand, the UK Cabinet Office says it will take legal action to prevent the handover of WhatsApp messages and these 24 notebooks. Now, the Cabinet Office claims that the panel has no right to ask for such material. However, Inquiry Chairperson Heather Hallett says what's relevant or not falls under her job title, not the government's. Now, some senior Tory leaders have urged the UK government to stand down as they don't want to see the party strangled in a legal battle with an independent inquiry panel. The opposition party, Labour, has accused the Tories of a cover-up. Now, similarly, opposition Liberal Democrats have also urged Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to submit the vital material requested. Now, amid this tussle between the inquiry panel and the government, the main question remains unanswered. If Boris Johnson himself is willing to hand over the material, why is the UK government reluctant to follow? And how much political leverage is Johnson looking to gain from all of this, as many Tory backbenchers still view him as a top contender for the next general election? Right, well, to answer that exact question, we do have Nicholas Nugent with us now, a senior journalist and former BBC editor, live from London. So, Nicholas, that is the question, isn't it? Why, if Boris Johnson himself is willing to hand over the material, why is the UK government reluctant to do so?
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to give you a straight answer to that question, but what's going on is a sort of exercise in power play at the highest level. Let's just backtrack. A year ago, Boris Johnson, still Prime Minister, was under a lot of pressure to set up an inquiry to investigate how the government handled the COVID situation. And he bowed to the pressure and he set that up, an official commission of inquiry under Baroness Hallett. Now the inquiry is ready to start its work and Boris Johnson is no longer Prime Minister. The inquiry are demanding quite a lot of inside information, all these WhatsApp exchanges. And at first, Boris Johnson himself was resistant to do that. He didn't want his private messaging between fellow ministers and others to be exposed to the public, because once it has been revealed to the Commission of Inquiry, they have the right to publish it. It's in the public domain. But he's changed his tune now. He wants to be a good guy because, as you mentioned, he's hoping to return to high office. So suddenly he said, yeah, it's okay with him. He's handed it over to the Cabinet Office, but it's up to them. It's up to the Cabinet Office. The Cabinet Office being essentially the bureaucracy surrounding the Prime Minister. So the decision is left to the Prime Minister of the moment, Rishi Sunak, as to whether to reveal these documents. And here we have another principle of government, which is about how open are government communications. Should they be exposed? Should they be completely transparent? Or shouldn't members of the government have the right to message each other in confidence before taking decisions, which is quite an important principle of government? I mean, we have reasonably open government, but we don't automatically see those exchanges going on. So the Cabinet Office or the Prime Minister's Office are having to make that decision. And the law appears to be on the side of the Commission of Inquiry, in that the chairman of the Commission of Inquiry, Baroness Hallett, a former High Court judge, a very senior figure, she has the right to decide what is relevant and what is not relevant to her inquiry. So the Cabinet Office's line that much of these exchanges are irrelevant doesn't hold water, really. Now, I'm not saying that that's the way it's going to go. We will see later today. The deadline is in about 6 hours from now. And if the documents haven't been handed over, that's when we expect it to go to law, go to the courts. And as I've said, the rights appear to be with the Commission of Inquiry, in that the government are required to respond to her demands. After all, we were pushing a year ago for a very open inquiry, a very thorough inquiry, and that's what Baroness Hallett appears to be set to deliver, and she is requiring these WhatsApp exchanges.
OK, Nicholas, thank you so much indeed for your expertise. As always, as you say, Boris Johnson has changed his tune, as you call it, and is willing to give over these WhatsApp messages. That's Nicholas Nugent there, senior journalist and former BBC editor, live from London. Thank you.